Today we're checking out the SR Performance Intercooler Charge Pipe Kit with a polished finish designed to fit the 2015 and 2023 EcoBoost Mustang. If you're looking to improve throttle response, reduce turbo lag, and enhance overall performance, this charge pipe kit is a great option over the restrictive factory piping. The SR Performance Intercooler Charge Pipe Kit is designed to optimize the airflow between your turbo and the intercooler, allowing for improved boost response and efficiency by replacing your weak stock rubber hot side and the more restrictive cold side with oversized tubing that's ultimately going to increase airflow, resulting in more power. As an added benefit, this is also going to minimize turbocharged air pressure loss. With a smoother and larger diameter design compared to the stock piping, this kit helps reduce restrictions, ensuring better power delivery and throttle response. The polished aluminum finish not only enhances durability, but it also adds this nice, slick, performance-inspired look into your engine bay. Also, the kit includes these high-quality silicone couplers and the reinforced clamps to ensure a secure, leak-free connection even under high boost pressures. Constructed from high-grade aluminum, these charge pipes offer superior durability and heat resistance compared to the stock plastic piping. The precision-engineered design ensures a direct fit while minimizing turbulence for smoother airflow. The polished finish not only looks great, but also provides an extra layer of corrosion resistance, making this a long-lasting upgrade for your Mustang. Now, as far as pricing goes on this kit, it's coming in right around that mid-300s price range, which is a pretty reasonable price point for high-quality aluminum parts that give you a direct replacement for improving performance. Now, installation on this is going to be fairly simple and straightforward, so we're going to rate this a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and you can have this installed in about 2 hours of your time. The kit is designed to be a direct replacement for the factory charge pipes, requiring no cutting or any modifications. Just remove the old piping, install the new upgraded pipes with our nice included couplers and clamps, and you're good to go. Now, let's throw it out to the shop so they can walk you through that install process.
For this install, you will need an impact, a ratchet, a small extension, a 3/8 inch adapter if necessary, 5mm Allen socket, 7mm socket, a clip removal tool, some regular and needle nose pliers. What's up guys, today we're going to be installing some intercooler charge pipes on our Mustang, so let's get started. Alright guys, so we're starting off with the vehicle in the air. Now this is a doable install from the ground, but it's much easier to show you and to get to the throttle body side charge pipe, the lower connector at the intercooler, if you do have it in the air and the skid plate off. So we'll pop this off real quick. We've got a couple of push clips and a bunch of 7mm screws around it. We've got our clip removal tool, also a 7mm socket on our impact. We'll run all this off and get this out of the way. We've got a few of ours missing, but say every 7mm that you can see, you're gonna need to remove. Have all those off. Pulling the skid plate. We also have a couple of clips on each side over here. Now we can pull our splash guard out of the way. So we're going to start with our throttle body side charge pipe. So we'll need to loosen up this worm gear clamp, our 7mm socket on a ratchet. And we'll loosen up the other side. I will loosen up our turbo outlet side with our 7mm socket. We've got these loose. At least begin to work them off of our intercooler inlet and outlet. We'll take a little finagling. I just want to see it start moving for me. Now we're back up in the top of the engine bay. We're going to loosen up our clamp on our throttle body. Discharge pipe again with our 7mm socket. Now we have this side loose. We'll work this off of the throttle body. Now these might be a little bit tricky to get off. Bend these up a bit. Especially if your car has had this on for a while and never come off. It's gonna be a little bit of work. Now if you do find you're having trouble getting this off, you can grab a longer flathead screwdriver and very gently, with a little bit of leverage around various points on your charge pipe. Be careful prying against your throttle body actuator. And kind of pull back at the same time. Again, we're not applying a lot of force to this, just enough to get it moving a little bit. Eventually that'll come free. Now for our turbo outlet side, we're going to need to unplug our blow-off valve as well as remove the hose. So we've got some needle nose pliers. We're going to release the tension on this clamp. Pull this hose off. Now if you find this hose is being stubborn, sometimes it's easier to come to your intake air tube side and remove it from this fitting first. Do that. A lot easier. And while we're over here, we also need to unplug our blow-off valve. Reach in here. We need to pop that tab first. Get that unplugged. So now we'll come in and loosen this upper clamp for our turbo outlet. And these are all 7mm. Get that good and loose. Once we have that loose, work this off of the turbo. Okay. So now that we have a little more room to work with this hose, come back and get this off. If this has never been off, it is going to give you a little bit of a fight. And if it's really giving you a struggle, you can just move it out of the way. We'll get that off once we pull our charge pipe out. Now one other thing you're going to have to do is remove the 2 retainer clamps on this little bracket for your harness. Ours are already broken, so they're off. So now we'll go back down under and work those bottom couplers off and get these out. So now we're back underneath the car. We're gonna start with our throttle body side. Just gonna work this off of our intercooler fitting. Pull that side out. Now we'll work on our turbo side. This may be a little bit tougher. Keep working that off. Got that popped out. Now this one might be easier for you to pull from the top, so we'll go back up and get this out. Get this out. Be careful. Pull that up now. Alright guys, so now we have our factory hot side piping up on the table along with our new setup. We're going to need to transfer the bypass valve as well as our hose for our bypass valve over to our new setup. Now I've got this clamp in the open position. There's a little tab on the back side. Once you open it, it should lock in, and we'll just pop this hose off. Set that aside. And then to get our valve off, we're going to grab our 5mm Allen socket on our impact, run these off. We can remove our valve. Now this is an excellent time taking it off to check your seal and your diaphragm to make sure there's no damage or wear. because that can cause boost leaks and issues, so definitely want to take care of that, check it out. If everything's good, we're going to swap it over. Now we're going to install our valve onto our new hot side piping. So we'll line this up. We're going to reuse our factory hardware. Get those bolts started. We're going to grab our 5mm Allen socket yet again and tighten these down. Now you want to tighten this down evenly as possible. Get that first one snug. Come back and tighten them all down. Now that we have that on, we'll install our hose. Now we are going to leave that clamp in the open position so we can orient this the way we need it once we get it onto the vehicle. So now we're going to add in our couplers on our hot side piping. So we have this straight reducer. The larger end is going to go onto our piping. The smaller end is for our turbo outlet. Get this on. Get that good and seated. Okay. And we'll get our other end on. Okay. Now we'll get our couplers on our cold side and get ready to go over to the car. All right, so now we can get the couplers onto our cold side. Now I do have the factory one up here. This makes things much easier to match up the orientation of how your couplers are going to go. So we have one elbow and one straight that is slightly reduced. The reduced side is for your throttle body. The bigger side is for your new cold side piping. So we're going to get that on first. Again, you want to match up the angles of this one to the factory one. It's just going to make things much easier going in for your orientation. Then you want to seat that on. So, and as you can see, we're matching up the angles, how it's going to flow. We can match our elbow up relatively to the same spot. Now you may have to tweak this once it's on the car, but you want to get it as close as possible before we go on the car, just to make things a lot easier. Now you also want to match up the lengths as best you can, and the best place to do that is inside of this part of the elbow. So we're going to slip this on as deep as we can. That's still going to have a little bit of extra length, but that's okay. Now we're looking good. So now that we have all of our couplers on our charge pipes, we're going to add in our clamps to the sides that are already on. And then we're just going to snug them down for now. We just don't want them to move while we're installing them, but we still want to be able to adjust them if necessary. Now you want to be mindful of the orientation of your charge pipes. So you want to have the nuts for these in an accessible location. So we've got our clamp for our charge pipe side of our reducer to our turbo. We've got a 7mm socket. We're just going to run this down snug. Snug enough where it doesn't move. And the smallest clamp in your kit will go onto the turbo outlet side itself. We're not going to install that just yet. We're going to set that aside. Go to the other side. And you're going to have a few larger ones in different variations. Now these two that aren't quite the largest are going to go to your intercooler itself. The rest of these are going to go to the ends of your charge pipes. So we're going to have this one. Again, be mindful of the orientation. You want to have access to this. We're going to stick this one over here. You can run this down like this until it gets close. It's inside charge pipe is going to be here, and we're going to be tightening this from under the vehicle. We'll be able to access this. And just snug. So that was good for now. Just going to do that. That one. And for our cold side, where this is going to go up with the throttle body right here. We want to be able to access these, so we'll add in a larger clamp to this side. Other large clamp is going to go here. We want to be able to tighten that down. Have that in a good spot as well. Again, just you want to picture how this is going in the vehicle the whole time. And this side is going to go here. The other bigger side is going to go for our throttle body. Alright guys, so now we're back underneath the car and we're going to start with our cold side. So we've got our cold side in our hands. We've got the clamp that's going to go onto the intercooler outlet. We'll get that where our coupler is. I'm going to feed this up into position. You want to make sure you're going in an orientation that lines up and also isn't going to rub against any parts. We're going to line that up with our intercooler as well as best you can with your throttle body for now. And you do get a pretty clean shot of how that's going to sit. Once you get that lined up, make sure that nothing is hitting. We're just going to leave that clamp there so we can get our throttle body side on. And as far as our hot side, we're going to have to come in through the top because there's much more stuff on this side as well as on our charge pipe. So we'll drop the vehicle down, we'll get our throttle body side in, and then we'll work on the hot side. So now we're back up in our engine bay, we're over at our throttle body. As you can see, it's pretty close to where we want it. We're going to add in that clamp to our throttle body side of our coupler. And we'll get this in position again. This is why we keep our clamps loose until we get everything on. We want to be able to move this around a little bit. Make sure our coupler isn't getting pinched. Get that over our throttle body. Sometimes easier said than done on that part. Once you get it on, get it seated. Other clamp in position. You can double check to make sure nothing is hitting. Get clearance in all areas. Once you're happy with that, we can start tightening down the clamps on this side, and we'll work on the top part of our hot side, go back underneath and button everything up. Now we'll grab our 7mm socket, impact, and tighten down these two clamps. You do want to keep your clamp straight. Once it goes a little bit, get it nice and tight. Tighten down the other one. Now we'll get our hot side piping in place. We've got our clamp for our intercooler side. But first, we'll get this down in the general area where it's going to go. Make sure you're not hitting anything. This is also why we left this hose loose so we can adjust it as needed. First thing we're going to do is clamp it into our intercooler side. And this is much easier to reach and see from the top. Get that over our coupler. Once that's over, bring your charge pipe down. Line that up with your intercooler piping. Put that in place. We have that on. Grab our clamp for our turbo outlet. Put that over that coupler. Get that set into place. Want to make sure that does seat fully. Don't want a boost leak right at the turbo, that's not good. All right, so once you've made sure that you got everything lined up on your intercooler side and turbo outlet, we're gonna go ahead and tighten down these two clamps just to hold everything in place. So once again, we've got our 7mm socket on a ratchet this time. We'll tighten this down. Tighten this one down. Okay. Now that we've got those clamps in place, first thing we're going to do is plug our bypass valve back in. Now, this new piping does not come with the little bracket to hold your harness, so no need to put that back in place. Make sure you push that clip back down. Once we have that on, bypass valve hose back onto our intake air tube. So get that started. We have our pliers. Back on. Now, as well as this clamp back in place, you may want to make sure to release the retainer on that other side's clamp so your clamp tightens back down. Now to release this clamp, you want to squeeze in fully with your pliers, give it a little twist, and it'll pop back out over that tab. All right, now we're back underneath the car and we can tighten up the final clamp on our hot side to our intercooler. So once again, we've got our 7mm socket. All right, now we can come underneath and tighten down our cold side intercooler outlet clamp. Again, we got our 7mm socket. Also tighten down intercooler clamp. Now we can reinstall our lower splash guard. Get this lined up. Make sure this goes inside of your front splitter. Goes behind the fender liner, like so. Then we can start reinstalling all of our clips and screws. So we get our push clip in on the bottom our splash guard, as well as the ones to the fender liner. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. That one as well. Now we can reinstall all of our screws underneath. So we've got our 7mm socket. Get these lined up. And we're in the back. Drop your screws, they are small. So then we'll continue around our splitter. Installing your screws. Again, we've got a couple missing, but you definitely want to reinstall them all if you have them. One's up front. Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our SR Performance Intercooler Charge Pipe Kit in polished finish for your 15 to 23 Mustang EcoBoost. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.